Uganda continues to grapple with the burden of malaria epidemic despite all the interventions put in place. It is for this reason that the Ministry of Health has organized a scientific colloquium on malaria to forge a way on how to get back on track and end malaria by 2030. The Vice President, Major Retired Jessica Alupo, officiated the scientific meeting on malaria and reassured scientists and the general public that government is committed on the fight against malaria.
Government is stepping up progress in the fight against malaria through increased domestic funding, and as such, we have included malaria as a cross-cutting issue in the budget called Circular 2024-2025. Government is committed to strengthening health systems to better diagnose at community level through the village health teams and community health extension workers, and to integrate the fight against malaria in efforts to combat climate change.
We are currently facing biological threats to our malaria prevention and control tools, which tool one of them has just been presented here. Studies have also documented changes in species of malaria vectors as well as their behavior. All these call for us to heighten our understanding of the malaria parasite, vectors, control, tools, operations.
The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Diana Twine, called for a change and a new approach in tackling malaria in the country, since there is no single bullet that can nip malaria.
Malaria has killed more people than COVID. Malaria continues to be the biggest killer of our people in our country. When you look at our data of mortality in our country, malaria is still the leading cause, yet we know everything about malaria. So I think this conference gives us opportunity to think out of the box. What are we not doing right? Where have we not performed? If science speaks today, can we take science as evidence-based and we design our interventions based on science, and we see malaria reduce significantly, and we see mortality and morbidity due to malaria reduce significantly?
The global burden of disease from malaria is still very high, as shown by the World Malaria Report of 2023. Where we see over 249 million people suffering from it, 94% of them in our continent. Our people, close to 610,000, die every year from this disease. And again, 95% of them are in Africa. It is quite unacceptable.
Dr. Emma Mugisha, the Senior Advisor, Vaccine and Immunizations at PATH, revealed that World Health Organization recommends the programmatic use of malaria vaccines for prevention of malaria in children living in malaria epidemic areas of high transmission. Dr. Mugisha noted that Uganda is among the 10 additional countries that are to roll out malaria vaccines in 2024 and reassured the public that the malaria vaccine is safe.
So there are two vaccines that we have so far. There is the RTS adjuvanted with AS01 produced by GSK, which was pre-qualified by WHO in 2022. And then we have the R21, which is adjuvanted by Matrix M, which is manufactured by Oxford. These are the two vaccines that have been recommended by WHO. Important to mention, there are 4 doses for any of these vaccines that are used. It's not 1 dose that will be enough. It's not 2, it's not 3, but there must be 4 doses. There's a tendency in our country that somebody receives the first dose and assumes is protected, and which is not the case. So we need support to make sure that everyone who is eligible receives the 4 doses.
During the scientific meeting on malaria, the late Eli Tumwine was recognized for his tremendous effort in the fight against malaria. The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health, Dr. Diana Twine, also was recognized among others. Zahara Abigaba, UBC News.